Sometimes you just gotta sit back, relax, and watch a fun movie. And that too in 3D, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Spider-Man, I'm gonna share my 3D experience. I'm gonna give my review of Spider-Man, ladies and gentlemen. But first, please do subscribe to my channel if you love cinema content, like, share, all that jazz. Let's get right to it. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, brand new day. One thing was immediately clear to me. This film remembers that before he's Spider-Man, he is Peter Parker. After No Way Home, Marvel could have easily taken the story in the biggest possible direction. More multiverse, more cameos, more spectacle. But instead, Brand New Day feels much more interested in exploring where Peter Parker is after everything that happened previously. At the end of No Way Home, Peter makes one of the hardest choices in his life. In order to protect the people he loves, he chooses to erase himself from their memories, basically. His best friend Ned Leeds no longer remembers their friendship. MJ, the person Peter loves, no longer remembers their relationship or everything they went through together. This is the crux of the story, right? Yes, Spider-Man is cool. He's jumping from building to building. All that action is there, right? And the 3D experience is awesome, but this is the crux of the story, him balancing his life, and a lot of superhero films have that. But this is different, and I'm going to explain why. What makes Spider-Man unique is that he is young and lives an ordinary life otherwise. He isn't a billionaire like Batman or Iron Man, or a godlike figure like Thor, or a soldier like Captain America, or an alien like Superman. He's a teenager who can be brilliant but insecure, awkward, and flawed. In this film, there are small moments where isolation sinks in. Peter is now a stranger to the two people who were once the closest people in his life, MJ and Ned. What makes these scenes work is that the film doesn't treat the memory wipe as just a plot device. It's just there as an emotional wound, a layer to the film, basically. Peter isn't fighting to get his old life back either, really. He's living with the fact that he can't. And that creates a very different kind of vibe or aura to this overall film, or for him, generally. The hardest thing for Peter isn't swinging across New York or stopping criminals, even though that looks cool. It's walking past people he loves and knowing that they don't even know who he is. One of the most effective parts of the movie is seeing those interactions, because the audience knows the history they share. Every normal conversation carries an extra layer. Peter remembers a relationship that MJ doesn't. There is a sadness in watching someone hold onto memories that only exist for them. And I think that is where Brand New Day finds an emotional strength when it comes to Spider-Man. We see Peter Parker, who already understands the cost of being who he is. He has already made the sacrifice in the previous films, and now he has to live with it. Another interesting angle in this film is how it shows that danger can move from one person to the next, creating a chain reaction. One person is influenced to carry out a task, which then leads to another person becoming involved, and then another. This indeed creates a feeling that danger could appear anywhere at any time, and anyone could be a part of someone else's plan. This, in turn, changes how Spider-Man has to approach the situation. A normal superhero fight is usually about stopping a person causing the problem. But here, Peter has to question whether the person in front of him is actually the enemy, or is it someone who is being manipulated? Because Spider-Man's goal isn't simply winning, right? It's saving people. And that difference is important. This movie also uses this idea to create an interesting contrast with Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher. John Bernthal's character approaches justice from a completely different perspective than Peter. Where Peter looks for ways to protect people, Frank is much more willing to use violence and accept consequences. Their dynamic works because it isn't just about two characters fighting side by side. It's about two completely different ideas of what being a hero actually means. Peter believes people can be saved. Frank believes some threats need to be eliminated. The action also benefits from these ideas because it isn't just about who can hit harder. Peter has to make decisions quickly, protect the people around him, and find solutions when simply using his powers isn't enough. He's not interested because he's the strongest superhero. He's interested because he keeps trying to do the right thing, even when being a hero makes his own life quite difficult. Now, I have to mention something personal. This was actually the first movie I've seen in 3D after a long time. I don't remember the last time, actually. That definitely added to the fun. And honestly, yeah, I had a good time, broadly speaking. The 3D helped create a feeling of depth and immersion. Instead of just watching Spider-Man move through the world, it felt like you were experiencing the movement with him. It gave the action sequences a more playful energy, I suppose, swinging through the city, moving quickly through environments from one building to another, changing direction in the middle of an action sequence. This is the type of film that should be watched in 3D. I mean, people should have that experience for this film. If you're gonna go watch this film, watch it in 3D. Now, the cinematography. It definitely does a great job at capturing the energy of Spider-Man's world. Instead of making every action sequence feel like a collection of fast cuts and visual effects, the camera often focuses on movement and spatial awareness. You get a clearer sense of where the characters are positioned, where the action is happening, and how Spider-Man moves through the space around him. The film uses scale effectively, basically. Spider-Man stories are always about the contrast between everyday and the extraordinary. One moment, Peter is dealing with normal life in New York, and the next he is moving through massive action sequences. The cinematography helps highlight that difference by shifting between more intimate, character-focused shots like close-ups versus larger, more dynamic visuals. Yes, I know this may be the case in many superhero flicks, but since this is a review of the latest Spider-Man, I'm saying that here as well. Obviously, visual effects are also a major part of the experience. This goes without saying, and it's nice, obviously. When it comes to editing, again, there's a contrast between the action sequences and the slower emotional moments. The movie understands when to be fast and when to slow down a bit. The result is a film that feels energetic without becoming overwhelming. When it comes to the performances, Tom Holland once again proves why he fits this version of Peter Parker so well. What stands out about Holland is the balance he brings to the character. He can still deliver the awkwardness and nervous energy that has always been a part of Peter Parker, but there is also a maturity in his performance. Holland is able to communicate what Peter is feeling without always using dialogue. The loneliness, the hesitation, the weight of his choices often come through his expressions and body language. Zendaya also continues to bring a lot to MJ. She brings restraint to the role because since MJ doesn't have the same memories Peter does, Zendaya has to approach their interactions from a completely different emotional place. She captures the uncertainty and distance effectively. Jacob Batalon also deserves special mention, actually, as Ned Leeds. I chuckled a few times, I'm not gonna lie, and his humor comes across naturally. What makes Ned's humor work is that Batalon doesn't play him as just a funny friend. He literally actually looks and performs just like how you'd expect the character to. His reactions, his expressions, and timing helps the comedy feel natural rather than forced. John Bernthal also brings a completely different energy as Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher, the tough guy who has a heart, basically. His physical presence and delivery immediately make Frank feel like someone who operates by a completely different set of rules than Peter, like I had mentioned earlier. The contrast between Holland's more open and compassionate performance and Bernthal's harsher, more controlled approach creates an interesting dynamic whenever the two characters share the screen. Overall, the cast understands the tone that Brand New Day is going for. At the end of the day, I think Brand New Day succeeds because it already knows exactly what kind of movie it wants to be. It isn't trying to be, completely new version of Spider-Man. It isn't trying to make the biggest superhero movie ever made. It is just an entertaining popcorn movie that understands the emotional foundation of the main character. It has fun action, it has strong performances, it has impressive visuals. Sometimes movies just need to be fun, honestly. You just need to sit back and relax. Do I recommend this movie? Yes, I do recommend this movie. Go with a friend, watch it in 3D ideally. But then at the end of the day, just have fun. It's entertaining, it's exciting, it's adventurous, whatever. I'm not gonna get too much into like the cinematic angle and all that stuff. It's a fun superhero film. Go for it, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, please do subscribe to my channel. Like I said, like, share, all that jazz. Till next time, peace out. Bye.